Hi, so yeah, I'm Eyal and I'm a web analyst. And what this means is I use data regarding what people do on a website in order to improve its performance. By improving performance, I don't mean how fast the pages load and all that, but having the website perform better by achieving its goals. So what I'm going to tell you here today is I'm going to talk about the three main things that you want to ask regarding your website, regarding how it's doing, regarding how to improve it. And I'm going to show you a tool called Google Analytics and show you how to use it in order to answer these questions. Okay, so for the first part, you're going to have to pay attention because it's going to pass real quickly. 7 seconds is the average amount of time that the user will take in order to decide whether to stay on your website or to go elsewhere, right? Because people, when they're surfing the web, they have lots of possibilities. They probably have a few other browser windows open. So you really have to kind of make an effort in order to keep them there. So the first question that you want to ask regarding this is, how is my first impression? Am I making a striking enough and attractive enough first impression in order to keep visitors who come to my website to make them want to stay and interact with it and view some more? So that's the first question. The second issue is represented by this leaking funnel. Okay, and the idea is that the funnel represents your website, and the liquid represents the traffic, the visitors come through. And this little drop right there represents the people that actually complete the goal of the website. All of the others leak out. Now, what do I mean by a goal of a website? This is a really important point. Every website has goals. These are your goals, the goals of the website owners. That's what the website is there for. For instance, if it's an e-commerce website, the goal would obviously be to sell products, right? So as the website owner, your aim would be to increase the conversion rate, to make as many people out of all the traffic that comes in, to make as many of them actually follow through and complete the purchase. But even websites that don't sell products, they also have purposes. So websites of clinics, for instance, their purpose would be to help visitors make appointments or to find information instead of using their phone and contacting the clinic, or to connect by leaving their email and getting periodical newsletters, or joining your social network, or helping other users via forums, etc. Okay, so you have goals. The website has goals for visitors that come in, and the purpose is to make as many of them actually follow through and complete the goal rather than leak out. Okay, so what you want to ask yourself here is, where are the leaks? Okay, what are the weak points that make people leave your website instead of completing the goal? Because the idea is this, I mean, you spend so much time and effort and money sometimes in order to bring traffic to your website, okay? These are your marketing efforts, okay? What happens in the website, this is actually the sale, okay? Because the visitor is already in your website, he's in your store, and you want to close the sale. You want the visitor to complete the goal, okay? So if you're spending a lot of efforts in order to bring traffic to your website, but you're not closing the sale, the website doesn't convert, people are coming to your website but then leaking out, then really all of these marketing efforts are going to waste. And the third point is regarding exactly that. Regarding the different channels that you use in order to bring traffic to your website. So you have quite a few of them, right? It might be advertising in Google or Facebook, might be links to your website that you post on forums and blogs, might be your social media efforts, word of mouth, of course, okay? And you want to know which of these are actually bringing you quality traffic that's going to convert. Which of these initiatives, which of these efforts are efficient, are effective. They're going to improve your bottom line. And eventually, the question that you want to ask is, what is my optimal marketing mix? Okay, so how do I kind of distribute or allocate my efforts between the different channels that I use to bring traffic to my site? So now I'm going to talk about Google Analytics. Basically, Google Analytics is a tool that lets you, that gives you visibility to what's going on your website, where visitors are coming from, what they're doing on the site, are they completing the goals? And through that, we'll see how you can answer the 3 questions that I've raised, right? So how's my first impression? Where are the leaks? And how should I allocate my marketing mix? Right, so the first question is 7 seconds issue, right? How's my first impression? So basically the report that we're going to use to measure that is the bounce rate report. What is the bounce rate? A bounce visit is a visit in which someone lands on your site, comes to your website, and then leaves without doing any further interaction, right? So he just kind of bounces off. Okay, so you really want to decrease your bounce rate. Okay, and this report shows what is the bounce rate for each of your landing pages, for each of the pages that people come to your site through. Okay, so it could be obviously the home page. It could also be other pages where you have like deep links, where you have direct links to articles on your website or to specific service pages. Okay, and what you can see is how is the bounce rate for each one. So you can see which pages are performing better than others or as landing pages. And you can also see over time, if you make changes and improvements to your pages, if that actually helps. So the bounce rate is really the metric, the proxy to the first impression. How is the first impression that the user gets, that the visitor gets when landing on the site? Second questions, where are the leaks? What are the weak links in my website? And how to improve them, how to fix it. So I'm going to show you 2 reports regarding this. The first one, this is a very important report. This is the funnel visualization report. Okay? So what is a funnel? We said that the websites have goals. That is the bottom of the funnel. But the funnel is a predetermined path of a process of steps that a visitor would go through until he reaches the goal. Okay, so for instance, this is a funnel for an e-commerce website. So the final goal is to complete the purchase. Okay, but before that, it's he has to go through a couple of steps. He has to choose a product, add it to the cart. Then he has to go to the payment page, and then he has to enter the credit card and complete the purchase. And each of these funnels is a potential leak. Each of these steps is a potential leak. Okay, so what we see in this report is that for each steps, how many people entered it, and how many leaked out to either to other places on the website or to just left the website to that page. Okay, so we can see that there's a pretty good conversion rate from step 1 to step 2. But then from step 2 to the final step, you see there's 1,371 people who went to the payment page, but only 510, a bit above a third, 37% continued and actually completed the purchase. Okay, so what this tells us is there's an opportunity to improve conversion rate by working on the payment page, because this is where you're losing most of your traffic during the conversion process. Another report which also comes to address the same question is the exit page report. Okay, so again, exit page is a page from which a visitor exits your site. So what this report basically shows you is which pages you lose the most traffic out of. Okay, now if this happens to be the goal page, like the thank you page after the payment, after making an appointment, after completing the goal, that's totally fine. But if it's somewhere on the way, then basically you really want to, what this tells you actually drives you to action. It tells you which pages you need to work on. Okay, either if a page is performing badly, either see if you can change other pages in order not to link to it, or change this page to see how it can perform better and make users not leave. Okay, like give them a call to action as what to do next, or divert them to get back to the funnel and continue to the goal. And regarding the last question, regarding the different traffic channels and what is the optimal marketing mix. So here you can look at the traffic report, the traffic sources report. And look at the goal set metrics. Okay, the goals are the goals that you define for your website, and what you want to know is what is the conversion rate for each source. Okay, so for instance, for Google Organic and some referral traffic, the conversion rate is much better than for other sources. Okay, so you might want to increase resources diverted to these channels because they're performing really well. Okay, so a few words regarding Google Analytics. First of all, it's a Google product. Google are giving it, they're providing it for free to website owners. But it is actually a very powerful tool. It's one of the most powerful tool out there. This is probably explain the very high adoption rate. It's implemented, I think, on most of websites in the world. Okay, it's also quite easy to implement. It's quite easy to use. Google Analytics is aimed for marketers and website owners, not for the IT people, not for the webmasters, but for the business or for the clinic, the person who actually owns the site, because this is the person that has these goals in mind. This is the person that would want to optimize these goals. And the UI, the tool is basically really easy. It's quite easy to use. It's quite friendly. It takes a bit of learning, but it doesn't take any technical skills. So it's really a tool for you guys to use directly. Last thing, the tool is provided for free, but Google doesn't give any service with the tool. So service is given through third-party vendors or certified professionals like myself and like Seperia. And what we do in this service is either help with implementation so that measurability is correct and very detailed, or with analysis for using the data really cleverly in order to drive action and find where the opportunities are and how to eventually improve the performance, improve the conversion rate of the website. So how to start? How do we actually get Google Analytics working on our website? So the first thing you need is to get a Google login, like a Gmail user, right? So once you have that, you can start. Then you go to Google Analytics. How do you go to Google Analytics? It's quite simple. You simply Google Analytics, and that will be the first result. You go in and you ask for a new account, for a new website. You follow the instructions. It's quite simple, and you get this crazy little code. Okay. Now this will be the only part where you're actually going to need the IT guy. You're going to need the person who's implementing the site to enter this code to every page on the website. Okay. Either do it manually, or in some cases where the website is made using some platform. Then like WordPress or other platforms for easily creating websites without coding, there'll be usually like a place where you can enter the site's ID. And so anyway, the implementation part is quite easy. Sometimes you need a little bit of technical help there, but once that's done and over with, you can go on. And then you can basically get back to Google Analytics and you'll have the reports available, and you'll be able to see all of these reports that we've seen. A couple of next steps, some extra and really things that you want to do after just doing the first the initial implementation. These are things that you can do yourself through the reports interface. So one thing is regarding goals and funnels. So the funnel visualization report that we've seen, this one will only work if you have defined. Well, this is pretty fine. So you have to define and tell Google Analytics what is the goal and what are the steps preceding, right? To define the funnel. So you really want to do that in order to have this funnel visualization report to be able to see to measure conversion rate according to the goal that you've defined, and you want to create a goal in a funnel for each goal that you have on your website, okay? Because you might have several goals. Second thing is filters. You can actually filter data out. You can filter traffic out of the reports. And the main thing you're going to do is to filter out internal traffic. So what you can do is find out what the IP address for your clinic is, or whoever is really dealing with your site internally, like the developer, and filter that out so that all you get is clean data of real visitors coming to your site. Okay, so if you log into your site 100 times a day, you want to kind of take this out of the equation, right? And last thing is dashboard. So for each report that you go to, we've seen some reports and we've seen these steps of how to create them. But then once you create a report that you like to that is useful to you, there's a button you can say add to dashboard, and then you'll have that report available. So whenever you come in, you can just in a single click find that report. So once you find which reports are most valuable to you, the ones that you're gonna want to look at daily or weekly, then you add them to a dashboard, and then you have a really kind of quick access to the data that matters to you. So finally, just a few kind of final thoughts that I'd like to leave you with. One important thing is to look at data comparatively. Okay, so the absolute values, okay, of the amount of visitors or the conversion rate or the bounce rate, they don't really tell you a lot that will drive you to action. Okay, but what you always want to do is compare. Okay, so you want to compare, for instance, the conversion rate between different traffic channels, right? You want to compare the bounce rate between different pages. You want to compare before and after having made a change, and that will educate decisions. Okay, and the second thing, take action. There is no point actually looking at reports and looking at data if it's not going to drive you to action, if it's not going to educate decisions on how to improve. Okay, so basically the actions would be making changes within the website, either to design and presentation, layout, colors, calls to action, text, etc., or to content. So that's one action that you can take to improve how the website is doing, to optimize the website, and the other, as we said, regarding the marketing mix. Okay, so you have this overview of how the different channels are working, and you use this data in order to make decisions regarding allocating resources to different marketing channels. And of course, the idea is to improve. Remember, your site, every site has goals, and what you want to do is improve the conversion rate, improve the bottom line of how many people actually, out of the people who reach your website, how many of them actually follow through and complete the goals. This is the purpose of measuring data, of measuring all of this and taking action upon the data. And lastly, you really want to start this from day one, from when the website is up. It's quite easy to implement, and you know, as the title says, you can't manage and you can't improve what you can't measure. So if you have a website, if you don't, you probably have one right after this conference. The first thing you want to do is to implement and include Google Analytics so that you will know what visitors are doing on your website and start improving it. Thanks.